On February 3, 2008, Rebecca Fenton called 911 after she found her husband's body lying on the floor of their Florida home.
911, is your emergency?
My emergency is I think my husband's been shot. My house has been burglarized. I just walked in. I'm not getting a pulse on him. I just came in from the gym.
Okay, what is the address there, ma'am?
It looks like a burglary. Oh my God.
When the police arrived on scene, they found Larry Fenton's body lying just inside the doorway to his home. The cause of death appeared to be 2 gunshot wounds found on his back and neck. At first, Rebecca appeared devastated that her husband was dead. She continued to cry while talking with the police and while talking with her neighbor.
What do you feel when hearing Rebecca's 911 call? That raw panic in her voice. It's chilling, like she's staring at her worst nightmare. But something feels off. Why does she mention a burglary so quickly, almost like she's setting a story? Most people would be too shaken to piece that together right away. It's hard not to wonder if she's hiding something behind those tears.
But then something strange happened when the media arrived. Rebecca's tears suddenly vanished, and she was seen laughing as if nothing had ever happened. While the police continued investigating her husband's death, Rebecca was brought in for questioning.
I just want to get some just general information from you,
Do you
and
have
then
any
we'll talk about.
answers? Have you found anything else?
Not yet. No, I haven't. I don't have any information. The other officers are out on the scene doing what they have to do. Okay.
The lady said that it was going to take some time.
Yes, it will. It usually forensics comes out there. They do the processing, and
It really doesn't matter if he's gone.
so. But the more evidence, obviously, we can get, processing the scene, the better it will be, and the quicker it will be to capture who's done this.
Good.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have an idea? Anything? The neighbors? Did anybody?
The other officers are out there talking to the neighbors. They're doing canvassing, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. So there's more going on at the scene.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Something.
No.
Something.
Right. Well, once we're done talking, then I can report back to the scene, and then they can probably give me some more updated
But they
information.
took the lady, the
right now.
man, they told me that he's definitely gone, that he can't be brought back to life or nothing.
I know.
What do you need to know?
Okay. As far as work goes, are you currently working?
I do a little bit of modeling for Bright House, but I wouldn't consider it work.
Okay.
I do a lot of charity work. I'm going to break my anonymity. I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous. I've been sober 3 years.
Okay.
And I do a lot of work with PAR and rehab, so
Okay.
I don't work, but
Okay. Do you have an agent?
do you have an angel?
No, an agent for your modeling career.
And a friend.
Okay. So it's
Rebecca's tears vanish when the cameras roll, laughing like her husband's death was a fleeting thought. That shift is jarring. Grief doesn't just pause for the spotlight. It makes you question her heart. Was she acting for the police, or is she just numb? Either way, it's hard to trust her story after that.
When this incident happened, we have an in-law apartment in the back that we turned into a gym. I was in the gym, in our gym, when this happened.
Okay. Tell me about today, when you guys first got up. Anything unusual or strange happen in the morning? First of all, what time did you guys get up?
I had to get up a little bit earlier than usual because I was taking a girl that I have to tell you, I'm in the program. I hate to break my anonymity, but it has a lot to do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the girls that I sponsor is in the PAR program. I had to pick her up to take her to a morning meeting that started at 9:45.
Okay.
And that meeting's probably 200 people saw us there.
Okay.
Larry had told me before his trip that he didn't want to do anything. He was going to go to the gym, come home, do a little bit of work on his laptop, and then he was going to watch golf.
Mm-hmm.
Something about Tiger Woods playing in Dubai, and then, of course, try to take a nap.
Mm-hmm.
Because this poor guy went to bed early, and he wanted to stay awake for the Super Bowl.
Right. Okay.
And that's where he was left when this happened.
Okay.
Where was Larry when I walked in the door? He was in the living room, and he was already watching TV.
What was he watching?
Yeah, I joked with him.
Okay.
I said, the only thing that woods are good for is hunting and hiking.
Mm-hmm.
It's a joke.
that we have about Tiger Woods.
Okay, so he was watching golf at that
He
point.
had his feet up on the coffee table. He does it every step.
Okay.
Said that he wanted to take a nap so that he could try to stay up for the Super Bowl. I did come in at one point, just kind of check on him. I was like, how's it going? Joked with him. Who plays golf in Dubai? Where is that place? And he was like, yeah, but I bet you know all about Mary Kay. And we just joked.
Right.
And it was just a checking on him, I was sitting on the ball when I heard a noise.
Okay.
But it didn't sound like a pop. It sounded like somebody dropped something.
Okay.
And I also had music on real loud. So I continued to keep working out, and then all of a sudden I was like, and I wasn't concerned. I just was.
You heard something that sounded like you said it dropped.
Something dropped.
Now,
Something fell off the roof.
Was it one noise? Was it several noises?
No, it was one.
Okay.
It was it sounded like something fell off the roof.
Okay.
And I kept on doing my sit-ups. And then I realized, I was like, let me go check on him. But it wasn't because of the noise. Periodically, we just check on each other.
Okay.
And it was
From the gym, what route did you take?
walked into the back door.
Okay.
My husband was laying in the foyer.
Okay.
There was blood everywhere. He was laying face down.
Okay.
Is the back door open or shut?
You mean open, not locked?
Open, standing open?
No, it was shut, but it was not locked.
Is the front door locked?
The front door was not locked unless he got it to lock it, which I doubt, because I walked out the front door to go out to my car and grab some where and when and some pamphlets on some sponsorship for AA earlier. And Larry wouldn't get up and lock the front door. He'll do all that at night.
Do you guys normally leave your doors open, unlocked?
Not the front door, no.
Okay.
The front door is set up so that when you, I feel like I can't think. I feel like my mind's not inside of my head.
That's okay.
I haven't wrapped
Right.
my mind around the fact that
it's a huge shock.
Rebecca claims that while she was exercising behind their home in a makeshift gym, she heard a loud bang. At first, she ignored the sound, which the detectives found very strange, but eventually she would go check on her husband using the back door to their home. Larry's body was positioned in a way that it appeared he had been trying to run out the front door when he was shot from behind. Larry's watch and wallet were missing, and it appeared as if someone had run around the house, pulling out random drawers, trying to make it look like a burglary. The problem was that usually a thief will run away when they encounter a homeowner. Larry had been shot in the back, which means he had been running away from the thief, so there should have been no reason a thief would need to murder the homeowner.
As far as firearms in the house, guns, firearms, guns.
we did own a gun.
Okay.
We bought one very, very recently.
You just have one gun in the house?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a handgun? Is it a shotgun or rifle?
It's something that, it's a handgun.
A handgun.
I don't know a lot about it, but we bought it recently, and it's registered, so I can't tell you the exact date.
Is it registered to you or your husband?
Don't quote me. I think Larry told me that it was legal for both of us to use, but only if we used it in the house.
Okay.
Like I couldn't put it in my car or tote it around in my purse.
Right.
And again, don't quote me. I think Larry told me that it was legal for him and for I, but that it had to be used inside of our house. And it was kept in our bedroom.
Did you ever fire it?
No.
You ever handle it?
No. Larry and I talked about going to the firing range, and I was kind of leery about it. We just never did it, and then we never saw the whack job again. So it was like, well, it's there if we need it, and then we don't have to worry about it
Okay.
And we never saw the guy again, never had a problem.
Just real quick off of that, when I stepped out, I got a call from some people at the scene, and I guess there's a cell phone there. Whose cell phone would that be? Open cell phone on the ground, do you know?
It wouldn't be mine. Mine's on me.
Yours is on you? Does your husband have a cell phone?
Yes, he does. And when you open it up, there's a picture of me.
Okay.
So you picked up the gun before, but just by like
he brought it home and he showed it to me, and I was just kind of like, I was like, hon, we haven't seen this guy in a while. And he was like, I'm going to take you down the gun range. I'm going to show you how to shoot it so you're perfectly comfortable with it. We don't see the nut ball again, then fine. When I'm out of town, if you ever need it, he said, but I will tell you this, it's only legal to use in the house. You can't go toting it around.
Right.
He joked with me, says you can't get PMS and think that you want it. And I was like, I understand.
Right.
And he was like, this is where it's going to be kept.
Where did you guys keep it in the house?
We kept it in our armoire, in our bedroom, in the third drawer on the left side.
Okay. Was it in a gun case?
It was in like a canvas.
Did it come with the gun? In other words, or was it just a canvas case that you guys...
No, I think that it came with the gun.
While the
crime scene screams setup. Larry's shot in the back, running away, and the stolen items are dumped nearby. A real thief doesn't stick around to make a mess. Rebecca's vague answers about the gun make her feel like she's dodging. It's like she's playing a part, but the script's falling apart.
After I realized what had happened, I grabbed my keys they were on the kitchen counter. And I grabbed them off the kitchen counter. When I realized that my house had been ransacked, I ran upstairs. When I saw how bad it was, my first thought was, I better get out of here.
Where was your house ransacked at?
Where?
The whole house or any particular?
The living room. I noticed that the living room was, my bedroom was, our bedroom was, but especially my husband's office. And I went to reach on the floor for the phone because that's where all of our numbers are. And I was like, let me get out of here. So I went out.
What floor did you go to?
The second floor.
Okay, so you came in, you saw
my
him.
Husband. I felt her pulse.
And then you went upstairs?
Yes, I did.
What'd you go upstairs for?
Because when I turned the corner and saw the living room had been ransacked, I went upstairs to see what the hell had happened.
Okay.
And I yelled. I said, I'm loaded. I have the police following me, so if you're in my house, you better come out now.
Okay, then when did you call 911?
I saw that the house had been ransacked. I ran back down. I checked my husband again for a pulse.
Did he have a pulse the first time?
I couldn't tell.
What about the second time?
I didn't feel one, but I didn't know if I was feeling in the right place.
Okay, now.
I got out of the house. I went to my car, which was in the driveway. I opened up the door, and I called you guys.
They find it very strange that after Rebecca finds her husband's body and she checks his pulse, she runs around the house unarmed to see what happened. After looking through every room in the house, she then checks her husband's pulse a second time, then goes outside to call the police. Rebecca says that the first pulse check did not confirm Larry was dead, so why didn't she immediately dial 911 and ask for an ambulance? Also, why did she stay in a house that potentially had a murderer inside?
Okay.
And then I got out of my car, and I was hysterical, and I just started pacing the driveway. I was like, somebody's got to get here now. If he's still alive, maybe you can help him. Trying to remember what else I said.
What did they tell you on the phone?
Try to calm down. What is your name?
Mm-hmm.
Help is on the way. Was he shot or was he stabbed? I told them that I didn't know. I couldn't tell. I just kept, I don't know if I was screaming, I just kept saying.
When you checked him, you just checked his pulse.
His eyes were open. I checked here.
Was he face up or face down?
He was face down.
Face down?
Blood all around him.
How was his head? Was his head down or to the
his
side?
His head was to the side, and his eyes were open, and that's what made me think that maybe he was alive, and if I could get an ambulance out there fast enough, maybe we could save his life.
Okay. So you checked his pulse?
I checked his neck. When I came back down the stairs, I checked his arm. And then I thought it was a good idea if I got out of the house to just call the police.
Okay. You didn't try CPR, didn't try to revive him?
No, I didn't. I didn't think it was a good idea to touch anything.
What did you think happened?
I wanted to know if my husband was still alive.
Okay.
Let
me just make sure I understand you right. You came in the back door, your husband's laying there.
Yes.
You went to him first.
Yes.
Okay.
Screamed.
Okay.
Throughout this interrogation,
Why run through a potentially dangerous house instead of calling 911? Rebecca's story doesn't add up. She checks. Larry's pulsed twice but doesn't try CPR or grab a phone nearby. It feels like she's more concerned with her story than saving him. That's not panic. That's calculation.
chance to talk with each other. They still couldn't understand why Rebecca did what she did after finding her husband's body.
Just try to get your line of thinking here. We were thinking about this, and both of us are married, and we thought, well, if this happened to us, we don't think we would have left our spouse's side during that time. I mean, especially if we thought there was some hope that they were alive.
I got scared. I thought the best thing for me to do was to get out of the house.
What were you scared of at that time?
What had happened? Call the police, get people there as soon as possible.
What I don't understand, though, is why you take the time to go upstairs. The danger upstairs, the unknown upstairs. Why would you put yourself in that situation?
I wondered if somebody was still in my house.
What were you going to do if you ran across somebody?
I don't know. I don't know. I get killed.
So what about, wouldn't your main concern be, what if he's still alive, maybe I can help him?
I wanted to help him.
But you left.
I walked outside and called the police. I left the scene. I walked outside and called the police.
And left your husband.
And asked them to get an ambulance there as quick as possible. Because I wasn't for sure that he was dead. I didn't know if he'd been shot or if he had been stabbed. And could they get an ambulance there as quick as possible?
But you didn't attempt any CPR, didn't stay with him. I mean, why did you leave?
I thought it was a smart thing to do. Get out of the house, not, get out of the house and call the police. That's what I was thinking. And horrified by what I had seen and what had happened. I wasn't sure what had happened, and it had to have happened, and I was so close by.
Rebecca makes a mistake and she tells the detectives that she saw 2 wounds on her husband's back. Paramedics didn't know how many wounds or their location until they removed Larry's shirt. So how did Rebecca know?
How would you know that there were 2 wounds, though, when all that's starting to coagulate and run together? They had to actually physically remove clothes to see how many wounds there were.
He was laying on the floor with his face like this. His eyes were open. Right. I saw a wound here, and I saw a wound what looked like in the middle of his back.
And what did these wounds look like?
He had either been shot or he had been stabbed.
Why do you say that? What did the wounds look like?
They didn't look like wounds. They looked like blood. I didn't see wounds. I saw blood on his clothes.
What color was his sweater?
It was a white, grayish sweatshirt he was wearing.
Dark or light?
It was light.
And then, all right, so then you check the house and there's nobody there, obviously, right?
Right.
So why'd you leave your husband there?
Call the police.
Was forced to stay with a close friend. The following day, the investigators decided to search her car that was sitting in the driveway. Under the driver's seat, they found a man's watch and the murder weapon. The gun was registered to Larry, and it was the same one Rebecca was talking about during her interview. Testing confirmed that it was indeed the weapon that was used to kill Larry, but there were no fingerprints found anywhere on the gun. The detectives decided not to confront Rebecca, at least until they had more evidence tying her to the murder. This decision would lead to the case remaining unsolved for over 5 years. During this time, Rebecca tried to get her husband's very large life insurance policy, but because there were so many unanswered questions, the insurance company refused to pay it out. Rebecca would begin to struggle with her bills, and then one day she received a notice from the bank telling her they would be foreclosing on her home. Strangely enough, Not long after receiving this letter, Rebecca's home would go up in flames. Because the fire department could not figure out how the fire began, Rebecca received a very nice insurance payout. Not long after the fire broke out, the police would arrest a petty thief named Alfred Noland. Alfred realized he was about to break his parole, so he told the police a story about a woman named Rebecca Fenton. Alfred claimed that he had lived and dated Rebecca for a short time, and he remembers that she was struggling to pay her bills. Alfred claims that while he was living with her, a fight broke out between them about money. During the fight, Rebecca grabbed a kitchen knife and threatened Alfred with it. She told him she would kill him, just like she did Larry, if he didn't get her more money. With Alfred's testimony, the police had enough to bring Rebecca in for another interrogation. This one would only last a few minutes. As soon as Rebecca realized what was happening, she demanded a lawyer. Unfortunately for her, they already had an arrest warrant signed by a judge, so Rebecca was officially charged with murder. Prosecution believed that after her workout, she came inside where Larry was watching TV from the couch. She then went upstairs, grabbed the gun, and went back downstairs to confront Larry. As soon as Larry had seen the gun, he got up and ran to the front door. Rebecca then fired the weapon at her fleeing husband. From there, Rebecca believed that all she had to do was stage a burglary and put a few items into Larry's vehicle, but then she ran out of time and had to abandon the vehicle a few blocks away. She then runs back home and washes the gun residue off her hands. Realizing she was out of time, she hides the gun under her seat, thinking that later she can dispose of the gun properly. The evidence that they had, paired with Alfred's testimony, was enough to convince the jury she was guilty. Rebecca received life in prison without the possibility of parole for first-degree murder. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this case. Was Rebecca set up, or is she just a cold-blooded killer?
Life in prison for Rebecca, but the truth still stings. Alfred's story and the gun under her seat paint a cold picture. Did she plan this for money, or was it deeper? The betrayal cuts deep. Larry trusted her, and she turned his home into a crime scene. What do you think? Was she framed, or is she a killer?